So here we have my Famicom that I kind of cleaned up and also modded, give it AV output and everything. The reason I have it out here is because one thing that's always bothered me about it is all the controllers. Not because they're attached and have a very, very short, cable or anything. It's because of these little metal brass inserts here. They're scratched. And yes, I know the plastic is scratched and everything too. But, this is the part that bothered me the most. These dimples here. Here's controller 2. It's even more scuffed up and everything. And I've been trying to find replacements for the longest time. When I first did this project, the only replacement I was able to find was through Yahoo Auctions Japan. And if you're familiar with it, then you know that you can't bid on anything from there if you're outside of Japan. You have to go through like a proxy service such as like a Sendico or something. Not affiliated, not sponsored or anything. But I didn't want to go that route because it was going to be pricey if I had to go that route. And I am not yet ready to take the plunge to buy a bunch of stuff from there because I know shipping costs can be very high. Understandably, but still. And I've been trying to find just local sources. And there's been a few posts on Reddit that have pointed me towards a place called, I believe it's nerdspaceship.com. Tons of stuff from Japan that they brought over here to the US or maybe just the West in general that you can go and purchase from. They never seem to have the inserts, though. They have replacement shells from salvage controllers and everything. But I wanted just the inserts. And I've been looking on and off and everything. And, well, eventually, I found some from a source here in the US. Now, I don't know if they make them here or if they just import them from Japan. Maybe they buy a ton of these from, one of these proxy services and bring them over here. But I figured, all right, well, let's give them a shot. I will tell you this, that I did spend altogether with shipping and everything about $17 and some change. So it's not necessarily going to be a cheap endeavor, but it's also not expensive in my opinion for what you're getting. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to replace these. Now, like I said, there's also some scuffs and scratches on the actual plastic itself. I'm not very good at buffing that type of stuff off from plastic, so I'm not going to worry about that. But we can take care of these. And just about anyone can do this. Let's be honest here. It's not going to be that difficult. These, for all intents and purposes, are just metallic stickers. So, what you'll need, obviously, is a set of these, and we'll take a look at this in a bit, but you need a set of these inserts. You'll need a Phillips screwdriver, like a PH1, give or take. PH2 might work, but I think you want to go with a PH1. You'll need probably some isopropyl alcohol and some Q-tips and a cleaning cloth to remove any residual residue on here. And while it's not needed, I also recommend having a hair dryer so that you can try to heat up the adhesive, make it easier to peel. But we'll get to all that in a bit. And if you got a heat gun, you can use that too. Just have it set to a very, very low temperature. But we're going to go ahead and we'll push it to the side first. Take a look at these decals because I haven't actually seen them yet. I just opened up the box to make sure they were in there and that they weren't, destroyed or anything. All right, and this is exactly how it was shipped to me, minus a shipping label that I did peel off. And it's one of the reasons why I ended up paying a little over $17 is because shipping something like this through USPS, the U.S. Postal Service, is going to cost more than just throwing it in an envelope. And you might be asking, well, why wouldn't you just throw this in an envelope then? Because these are really thin and they're very prone to bending, especially since they're metal. And once you bend them, you can't unbend them. Even a simple crease is going to basically ruin the aesthetic. So shipping it like this makes sense. These are about $5-something a piece. I bought the kit. It's a little bit over $11 after taxes to get both the left and right controller, player 1, player 2. If you just need one, you can buy one or the other. But yeah, I'm happy with how it was packaged. Oh, 3M tape. That's good. I'm happy with how that was packaged and shipped and everything. So here we go. Let me peel them apart because the adhesive kind of there. So player 1 and player 2. Now, one thing I did notice, and you probably did too, is they are slightly different shades of brass. In the light, it's not easy to tell, but you can see like right there. And the listing did mention it. I don't know the reasoning behind it. I'm assuming it's because they're probably stamped from different production runs, things like that. So if that bothers you, this is not going to be your your option here, but it's not going to bother me that much because I'm primarily going to be using player 1, and I'm almost never going to see them anyway. So let's go ahead and pull controller 1. And as we can see, slightly different look. The original ones have like a brushed metal look to them. I don't know if it's showing on camera or not. These do not really. I mean, it's not as obvious, but these also have a plastic film over them protecting them too. So it makes it a little bit more difficult to see. But color-wise, that's fairly accurate. And if we look at controller 2, probably even closer. In fact, let me see. Together, maybe, no, they're about the same too. So yeah, so there's going to be a difference between these two, but that's, again, in my opinion, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to stress over it. So, because once they're attached, probably not going to be able to really notice anyway. So, but we're going to go ahead and we'll get this one replaced. I'll do this one on camera. I'll do player 2 off camera. We'll see what they look like as a finished product and wrap it up. So the way I'm going to go about it, you don't have to, but it's something that I'm going to be doing, is I'm going to be removing these screws so that I can take the top cover off, because when I apply the heat, I don't want it to potentially, not that it's going to, but I don't want to potentially damage any of the buttons or anything like that. Plus, it'll make it easier to remove the old insert anyway. Like I said, it's probably a PH1, but let's find out. Yep, perfect. PH0 might work, but set that to the side. In case you haven't seen the inside of the controller, it's actually very similar to the NES controller. In fact, if you just rewire some of the connections, you can use the internals in an actual NES controller. So, but the whole point of me taking this apart was so I could do that. There. And this will make it a lot easier to work on this. So, especially since now we're not tethered by a, I don't know, 2.5-foot cable. So I'm basically just going to take my hairdryer and run it over basically the entire face of the top plate here. Just try and loosen the adhesive a little bit. There is a cutout here, which I suppose you could use to push through, and we may need to do that in order to be able to remove this insert. You could probably also use a craft knife to kind of get in there and peel it up, but just be careful, obviously. I do recommend having a hairdryer that has a low setting. High setting, you might think, oh, it'll work faster. And while the hairdryer should not get hot enough to do so, I don't want to take the chance at possibly warping the plastic or even melting it. Again, it shouldn't get that hot, but you never know. If you are going to use a heat gun, put it on the lowest setting, lowest airflow as possible. Yes, it might take longer, but that's fine. And even then, I still recommend going over in like a circular motion. Here we go. All right, and now it's pretty toasty. Let's see if I can use this. Nope, still not enough. So I'm going to do it a little bit longer, and then we'll see. Although I was able to get a little bit of it popped out. And again, I don't care if I destroy this one because I'm replacing it anyway, right? So. Okay, not bad. Yeah. This is ruined though, so it is a one-way trip. You can try to flatten it out, but you're probably not going to be able to. So looking at the bottom, you can see the adhesive. In some parts, it didn't quite remove itself from the controller, especially like around here and here, and that's why you want the isopropyl alcohol, so you can try to clean up the rest of it. Everyone will pretty much have access to it, give or take, so some of this is also probably finger funk, because even though I gave these controllers a cleaning when I refurbed everything, I was not able to get obviously into the inserts, so I'm trying to readjust the lighting, but there is no good way for me to get it the way I'm set up over here. I know somebody made a comment in one of my previous videos about, trying to improve the lighting. It's one of the things I'm going to attempt to do over time. I just don't have room for all the fancy studio style lighting, so I basically just use what I can find. Not sure if it's coming through on camera. A little bit dirty, but that's to be expected. So, wasn't terrible though. I am going to go one more time though. Oops. Again, if I was really good at polishing plastics, I would take this time right now to do that, get rid of all these little minor scuffs and everything. But I'm not, and I'll just make it worse. So, and it actually looks kind of sweet just like that. I kind of wish they hadn't done the glossy plastic and instead gone with like a matte finish like it is underneath here. But it's what they went with, so got to deal with it. All right, let's go ahead and get the insert prepared and see what we can make this look like. All right, let's do a test fit without removing the adhesive backing just yet. And that's what it's going to look like, and honestly, I dig it. Of course, now, very carefully here, peel the backing off of the insert because I don't want to bend it or crease it or anything like that. And fortunately, it is recessed in, so it makes it really easy to align. And I'm just going to use this to kind of press down on it. And that's all there is to it. I don't know if I want to remove the plastic film off of it or not, because it'll protect it a little bit longer. But who knows? And again, there's the original for comparison. Font looks like it's pretty close. The B and A itself looks almost spot on. And even the stripes are in the right spot. So, cool. Let me go ahead and take care of controller 2 off camera. And let's wrap this up. So real quick, I'm going to show the inside of player 2 controller since it is different. Here you've got the little volume slider. And here's the actual PCB. Again, you'll notice there's no start and select. And here is a microphone as well as these carbon contacts here for adjusting the actual volume slider, acting kind of like a resistor of sorts. So in case you've never seen the inside of one, there you go. All right, we'll be back. And well, here they are. Again, there is a slight color difference between the two, but I can barely notice now that they're installed. And depending on the lighting, you can't really tell at all. One slight criticism, though. Again, we'll look at controller 1 here. Everything looks really good, right? Here's controller 2. Let's see if I can focus a little. It might be a little bit tough to tell on camera here, but if you look at the printing around B and A, it's not exactly straight and clean and everything. If you look at where it says mic, it's also not very clean and sharp or anything like that, especially when you compare them to the original here. So some slight printing issues with player 2, controller 2. But again, it's not anything that's going to be, earth-shattering, game breaking, anything like that. If you're a perfectionist, then, well, this entire video was not for you, especially since both of these plates were, like I said, slightly different shades of brass or whatever you want to call it. But I'm happy with it myself. Overall, everything looks good. And yeah. So I'll leave the links down below to where I got these. Again, not sponsored or anything like that, as well as the links to the Yahoo Auctions Japan, in case you are buying stuff through a proxy service or you're in Japan yourself, need them. And yeah, so you guys have any other sources for these things? Please let us know below. Can't leave links because, spammers ruined all of that. But, if you point us in the right direction, we'll find it. If I do find the links, if you guys do post links, I'll include them in the description. That way, you guys will have an easier time getting them. But yeah, I'm happy now. They're not scratched up and scuffed up and everything. And as I said, I am going to leave the plastic film on these just to protect them a little bit longer. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Otherwise, thanks all. Catch you later.